I'm not making this video to support conspiracy theories. So I recently saw Bugonia in the theater with some friends, and I wanted to make this video, not to go too deep into the film, so it's not a review or like a video essay or anything like that. This is just my reaction, because I wanted to ask you the same question I asked my friends when we were leaving the theater. But yeah, it's a spoiler, so if you haven't seen the movie, yeah, don't watch this, or whatever. If you don't care about spoilers, then whatever. I really enjoyed this film. And the question I had for my friends as we were leaving the theater was, at what point did you believe him, the Jesse Plemons character? Someone much smarter than me will be able to tell you all about this movie, but I wanted to share what I felt, what I saw in the film, what I feel like the filmmakers gave us in the movie, not a lot of the other things involved, just what I saw, heard, and felt while watching it. And what I saw was a big argument. The film is an argument. And if anything, I'm pretty good at those. So maybe. I don't know. I've lost a lot. Won some too. But whatever. Beside the point. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I see this film as an argument, and almost like the director, Yorgos Lanthimos, plays both sides. He doesn't tell you to believe one side or the other, but he just feeds you different things and makes you feel a certain way at different points of the film. And it's like a roller coaster of up and down. Like in the beginning, you see these two characters, Jesse Plemons and Aiden Delbus, Teddy and Don. They're like working out. They're doing things like they're preparing for something, and they're taking care of these bees. And then that's juxtaposed with Emma Stone's character and, the way that she lives her life. And one of the first things I noticed was color. We start with Teddy and Don are in that house, and they're lit with warmer lights on their skin tone. It's giving color into their skin. Whereas the first time we see Emma Stone, it's like just straight white light. Her skin tone doesn't have much color. And so that's a through line throughout the film as well, is the color of the lights on their faces and how that plays into whether or not you believe him that she's an alien. And that's what the film is about. Do you believe Jesse Plemons, or do you think he's a conspiracist? And the word conspiracy, I feel like, has a different meaning now. Not after this movie, just now, after a lot of the things were once deemed conspiracies turn out to be true. So in the Letterboxd log line, like description, the film's description is: two conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnap the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. And I wanted to make this video about this movie, and in this way, I don't really know exactly what I'm getting at, but I guess the best way I could say this is like, it's almost like this movie, the filmmaker takes the middle stance, at least for most part of the movie, up until the very end, which is beautiful. And just as culture and the news and our friends and whatever beliefs anybody has about politics or whatever, I should probably make this video in the future when all my thoughts are kind of organized, but that'll be a while. So I'm just making this now to just kind of share my thoughts about it and see if anybody else kind of feels those same things or thinks those same things, then we could talk about it. But it's very interesting, the dynamics between these two characters, where the Jesse Plemons character is full-on conspiracist. He believes that she is an alien, so they kidnap her, and the movie doesn't give us any evidence, I don't think. I only saw it once. I need to rewatch it, especially now with the ending and how it recontextualizes the rest of the film. But the movie doesn't give us any proof, so we're choosing who to believe. Do we believe him or do we believe her? Now, she's really educated. She's professional. She works in that corporate office. She's trustworthy. She's the CEO of this company. She's got all these awards. She's on Time magazine. And Jesse Plemons is a nobody who has a broken family, looks like a mess. He works in a warehouse. No judgments to that. I worked in a couple warehouses, but he's not living an easy life. And when we first meet him, what are his beliefs that she's an alien founded on? We don't really know. In that moment where he electrocutes her, that's the first time that I can remember that we get him showing us his process to prove this. But the filmmakers aren't giving us any oh yes, that means something, what he's doing, the electricity levels or whatever that is, that means we can connect with that and then be like, yeah, she's an alien. We're just like, this guy's crazy. Like, he needs to chill out. And in that moment, we really feel so bad for her. I did. I felt terrible for Emma Stone's character in that moment. And I'm like, this dude, Jesse Plemons, is a psycho. And we see that a lot through Don, the reactions of Don when we cut to him in certain moments. That's almost like cutting to us. You know, Jesse Plemons even says, you know, don't say anything, really. Thinking back to a lot of those scenes, especially like, you know, when they have that debate at the dinner table after the electric situation, and he sees that he thinks that she's the queen or has the blood of like the royal aliens. They come up and they have dinner and they sit across the table, and Don sits in the middle, and they talk. And even then, you know, the language that they use, you know, she seems very well educated. He doesn't. His is very emotional, based on his personal life, based on his experiences. Hers is very like defending the corporation. I don't even know if we're really supposed to understand what they're talking about. And that's what I find so fascinating, because when I listen to a lot of my friends talking about things, we all have our perspective of what's happening in the world, but everybody has their own version of it, and everybody's backed by whatever evidence they think they have, or however they feel, or whatever thing happened in their personal life. And it's really hard to meet in the middle. That's one of the things that I noticed the table was so long. Whatever. I don't know why I'm talking about those things. I'm trying not to go too deep into some of the filmmaking elements of the movie, and really just talk about the roller coaster of who do you believe in when. And even noticing the moment where Don shoots himself and exits the movie, you know, that's the moment where Emma Stone's character goes into Jesse's office, little secret office, and finds like all of his research and the other bodies, the other aliens, or the other people he killed. What do you feel for her? What did you feel for her? You know, I felt fear, like you got to get out, because that's what you see in a lot of those movies. This character comes across some dead bodies. You've got to get out of there quick. But then you see all that evidence, and you see like the stuff that he's made and how committed he is, and you see her reactions. In that moment still, I'm obviously thinking, you know, got a fear for her, but she just had her freaking leg broken and now she's up and walking. And it's that moment is perfectly disguised in Jesse Plemons' character hearing that gunshot, killing Stavros, and then coming downstairs to find out what happened. And in that moment, you're not really supposed to think, like, who do I believe here? Until Jesse's character gets back and she's standing there. And she, you know, that's another thing throughout the film is, you know, with the color, with the shots, with her expressions. Emma was the perfect actress to play this, because she could perfectly play that, like, corporate boss lady. But then also a lot of those plain expressions, her blank stare, let us impress what we might think on top of that. That was a lot of what we were doing with Don. This is a lot of thoughts. I'm trying to organize these, but whatever. This is me organizing it. Maybe this is my draft, and then I'll turn this into a proper review later when I watch the movie again. But one of the things, you know, coming back to the argument is, now at this point, it doesn't matter if you believe him or not, because of the effed up stuff he does, the crazy stuff he does, you know? And so tying this into how it's like arguing with your friends about stuff is like, you know, right now it feels like we can't have a conversation about things without things being too polarized. You know, someone getting too emotional about the way they feel about something, or someone having a good idea, especially our conspiracy friends, but the way they deliver it, the way they do it is just crazy. And then it's like you can't really support that. You almost can't get along. You can't align yourself with that because it's gone too far. You know, I haven't researched this film, you know, what other people are saying, how other people have dissected it. This is just my feelings from what I saw and heard, and me as kind of like the who do you believe, which one way or the other. And like I'm not making this video to support conspiracy theories. I'm making this video because what I felt in the film was like, we don't really know if some conspiracies are true. Like if you go out there and you look up like the most famous conspiracy theories, you know, like let's do it right now. I'm going to do it right now. Like the top 5. Okay, the top 5 conspiracy theories. The assassination of John F. Kennedy. The moon landing was faked. I don't know. Where did Stanley Kubrick get those lenses, though? The 9/11 cover-up, Area 51 and alien encounters, secret societies control the world. Now, I don't really know, those are conspiracies, but at the same time, not, And so that's what this film is about, is the what's the word, the weight that's carried with that word and the people who believe these things. And when you hear them talk and you hear like even facts add up, as we started to see in this movie, like at one point his mom was like floating in the air in this scene, black and white. And it was a perfect element to introduce, because it's like only a part of me was like, okay, what is this? This is really weird. I've never seen this. But the way the filmmakers delivered it, black and white, really like different style almost of the film. You didn't know if it was a dream, if it was just happening in his head or whatever. You didn't know what it was. So you still didn't really give it much weight. I didn't. And so this question that I asked, at what point did you believe him? Or what point did you really believe him? At what point did you really start to think like, this depends on the type of person you are. If you're more of like somebody who believes in conspiracy theorists, like this one, the earth is flat and there's aliens control the world, maybe you can see a lot of different signs here than a person who doesn't believe those things or doesn't know about those things. Or did you completely turn it off immediately and not even buy into it and not even give it a chance because you don't enjoy movies and having fun? I don't know. I mean, you didn't like the character, you didn't like the way things happen, or you didn't like the idea in general. For me, it was a roller coaster, like I said. And even up until the very end, I didn't really know. And I really did want to say that, like, when he was getting her in that closet, like, it's so crazy. Like, even the cutting the hair off thing, like, that was such a beautiful bookend to the first time that when they kidnapped her and they cut her hair. And you're just like, that is the most ridiculous thing. What is he even talking about? And then it turns out later, when it's proven she's an alien, and they say you couldn't contact your ship, and she was like, yeah, I didn't have my hair. And what I love too about like this film is it's open-ended. You don't know if she knew that whatever was going to happen in there was going to explode the bomb and kill him. You didn't know if she really wanted him to go there. And I feel like this movie embodies what it's like to have conversations with people so well, because you don't know what to believe anymore. There's too much information out there. Things are happening too fast. The conspiracy theories, some of them have been true. Not, the earth is flat. I don't know about that. But aliens are here. Maybe. Maybe. Let me know in the comments what you think. Like, what point did you start to believe Jesse Plemons, if you ever did? And what was your reaction to the very end and to the message of the movie? What was your opinion? What do you think the message of the movie is? Because maybe you watch this video and you're like, this guy didn't even have a message. I didn't have everything prepared. Make a proper review maybe at some point, maybe not. But yeah, this was just my feelings and thoughts about it, and I really liked it, and I really do feel like it fits in nice with Eddington and One Battle After Another about what it's like to exist in the world at this time when everything is so polarized and crazy. So yeah, till next time. Thanks.